the media briefing with MEC Panyaza Lesufi on the DA's protest against the Bela Bill just ended. Our reporter Canny Maphanga is there standing for us. Thank you very much, Canny, for joining us. Just update us as to the latest.
And the viewers at home, coming to you live from MEC Lesufi's office, where he has just concluded his response to the DA's picket on the Bela Bill. The MEC is stating basically that this is not about destroying the Afrikaans language, but creating a non-racial education system where everybody will have access to all of the schools and they will not just belong to one race group. Just to not waste any time, Zinga, let's go straight to MEC Lesufi as his time is limited. Lesufi, thank you so much for joining us. You've clarified that this bill, in actual fact, will address some of these concerns of people wanting to get into these diverse schools and not having a situation where South Africa's education system has schools that only teach in one medium and only serve one race group. Can you elaborate further on this?
Indeed. We are a strong believer of a truly non-racial South Africa. It's in our constitution that everyone must be treated fairly and must have access to education wherever they want to go. But the bill is not even something that was initiated by us. There was a court judgment by former Deputy Chief Justice in his final judgment empowered the Department of Education HOD to be the final arbiter on issues of admission. So what the bill is suggesting is to incorporate that judgment and say that if an SGB feels that they finalized admissions and they feel that the school is full, let the HOD be the one that determines where the child can be placed rather than the child be placed at home. But the supporters of racism or anti-transformation feel that when the SGB says the school is full, you must go and stay at home. You must not go to the department, because they feel when the department say you must be admitted, it will change the admission laws, it will change their language policies. Hence, their strong attitude to say this must be stopped. But we are just implementing a decision of the Constitutional Court, and if you live in a democracy and you believe the Constitutional Court is the highest arbiter on matters like this, then they must accept the bill the way it is.
At face value, the DA has described this bill as a form of capture of South Africa's schools. Can you just take us through that when these grievances are not met by the SGB, when does your role fit in as the HOD and as the MEC or the Minister of Education?
Actually, the law is very clear. The SGB is the one that decides. If the SGB or the parent is not happy, then the parent appeals to the HOD. And if the HOD makes a decision and the parent is still not happy, the parent then appeals to the MEC. And if I take a decision, that decision is final. So it's still in the law. It's nothing new. So what the bill is trying to say is that because there was court cases about placements, not knowing whether the final decision lies with the SGB or with the HOD, when former Deputy Chief Justice made the judgment on this matter, he made it clear that the final arbiter is the HOD of the department. So this bill intends to incorporate that judgment. So instead of accepting that judgment and challenging the judgment, because the Constitutional Court, they know they've run out of appealing that particular decision, they believe they must attack this particular bill and doing outside my office and other. But our schools belongs to all our children. It belongs to all of us. I'm not against Africans. I'm not against what we call mother tongue education. But what I'm against is that you can't have the entire school for one race and one language. You can class A have Afrikaans, class B have Zulu and English, and during break our children play together. They can play rugby, soccer, cricket together. What's wrong? And why, if it's proper for children not to play together at a high school, but they can go to university into the same lecture hall after grade 12, and that is acceptable? It can't be. Our children must play together. If we have to build a strong non-racial South Africa, it starts in the classroom.
Now, speaking on the tensions between language, specifically English and Afrikaans in this province within our schools, in primary education rather, we've seen similar incidents such as her school, Overval, and you've always attempted to intervene in some of these situations that they are holding on to these language policies, and you've always been perceived as someone that is trying to, for lack of of a better term, get rid of Afrikaans in schools or kill off Afrikaans in schools. What is your response to these claims?
I'll never kill Afrikaans. I mean, my name is Hendrik, for God's sake. I mean, how will I kill Afrikaans when my name is Hendrik? My child went to an African school. So how will I kill it when there are so many communities that speak Afrikaans? What I'm opposed is to use Afrikaans as a proxy to exercise discrimination and apartheid. What I'm opposed to is Afrikaans as a privileged language that must protect other people, not to allow our children to play together. I'm opposed to that, and we will, because our constitution is clear. This is a democratic South Africa, and all these schools belongs to all our children. They don't belong to a certain race or a certain language group. They belong to all our children, and our children can play together and learn together, and that's what I'm propagating. But obviously the DA wants to be seen to be a better party that can represent the African community. That's the reason why they came to my office, when they know very well that the law is clear. Who promulgates laws at national is the minister. Why not go and march to the minister? Because this is a bill of a minister, it's not a bill of MEC. And secondly, the DA participated, the MEC for education in Western Cape participated in the bill and agreed with us in the meeting. Why now come to me, not go to their MEC and say, but you agreed to a wrong thing? So it's just been targeted for political ulterior motives, but they won't succeed. They know themselves.
Thank you so much. That was Mr. Lesufi, MEC of Education in Gauteng, just giving us a bit of his response there to the DA's picket outside his offices this morning. He's described it as an opportunistic move, saying that he is not the face of this bill. This bill has included all provinces and will also include public comments on it. And he is clear on his stance that he believes in a non-racial education system where everyone will be afforded the opportunity to go to any school that they choose, despite the language that they speak in and their mother tongue. Believes that this bill will open the doors of learning to all pupils in this country. Over to you in studio, Nzinga.
Thanks very much. That's my colleague there, Canny Maphanga.